Hi everybody, and welcome to Gilah Talk. My wonderful boss, Marcy, suggested that maybe I put a little video together that the JCC can add to their library of videos to be used for some entertainment and learning purposes while we are all stuck at home with not a whole lot to do. So we need to be creative. So I know that my synagogue and synagogues all over the country and churches and community centers and businesses and spas and whatever are putting a lot of stuff online so that you can exercise yourself, you can do videos, all kinds of stuff to try to remain as normal as possible in these extraordinary times that we are going through. So what I decided to do was to pretty much follow the format of my JCC discussion groups on Wednesdays and Fridays, where we skip around a little here and there. Since I am a people person, this is very bizarre to me because I need human contact, and we're going to be lacking that for a while. So forgive if I have any awkward moments, but normally in my discussion group, we would, I would bring up something, discuss something, and then people would say, oh, I think this, or I think this. So it's going to be basically me going on for a few minutes. But anytime, just feel free to pause this video, continue the conversation with someone that you might be, on the phone with or chatting with, and say, oh, Gilah said blah, blah, blah. And that's the way we continue the conversation. So all along, I'm always looking for interesting articles, interesting human interest stories, and in particular now, specific stories that have to deal with how we can cope, how we can deal with these extraordinary times that we are living with. So I have some things that I'm going to share with you. And actually, I forgot to say welcome to our living room. We are in the process of changing things around a little. We don't have a couch yet, but my husband made this cute little nook for this video purpose. So welcome to our home. Okay. I'm going to begin by sharing 3 human interest stories that I thought were just incredibly touching. People are out there working because they have to, because the world still has to operate, even though it's operating slightly off its axis. So this is entitled A Personal Statement on the Coronavirus by a Postal Carrier. Okay, it would help if I didn't do it upside down. Okay. This was originally an email to a friend that this person sent. Jan is my 79-year-old male life partner. You asked me what I'm scared of, he's telling his friend. What causes me anxiety? The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. What I'm scared of and what causes me anxiety, the only thing we have to, oh my gosh, I screwed it up. I'm so sorry. I'm going to start this again. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm not afraid of Jan, my partner, dying. And we are both severely at risk. I'm afraid of people buying up all the toilet paper and hand sanitizer. I'm afraid of not being able to go to a bar for a beer. The older Korean lady at the bodega this morning said, I'm scared. It broke my heart, and I replied, believe in God or believe in Buddha. Do not be scared. In short, I'm scared of not being an upright human being, man or woman. I'm scared of cowardliness, selfishness, price gouging, panic, and a lack of dignity. That is what I am scared of. One time, I delivered a package, a soft package with pill bottles in it, to some people. The woman said, "Oh, thank God, this is my husband's heart medication, and we're all out." We were starting to worry that this wasn't going to come because he really needs it. There is a lot of junk mail, and there's a lot of impulse purchases that the post office delivers each and every day. There's also a lot of essential packages with stuff that people really need. The small businesses that rely on the post office will be out of business in short order if they can't ship their goods. A huge number of people, especially poor and working class people, would suffer greatly without my service. I deliver checks every day. If USPS, UPS, and FedEx were to close, even for just a couple of weeks, the economy would be irreparably damaged. People would suffer. This is not propaganda. No one told me to write this or say this. I realized it on my own. My service as a postal carrier is essential. I have no moral choice but to do my duty. I don't want to die. I don't want my live-in Jan to die, but I have to go out to work this coming week because it is my duty. Yeah, I'm scared, but I'm more scared of being the kind of man who hoards hand sanitizer and doesn't do his duty. I'm scared of not being a good man. So I thought this was fascinating because this article shows an everyman, a postal carrier, a postal worker who just does his job and doesn't think it's a big deal to do his job. And even though logistically he might be scared in terms of what he's reading and the proximity and everything that we're hearing about the coronavirus, he feels important because he delivers life-saving medication to people who use the U.S. Postal Service. So I thought that that was a lovely comment on the fear that he has of not being human. So that I thought I wanted to share, and that might be a nice little discussion point when you have an opportunity. Another thing that I thought was interesting, this doesn't necessarily have to do with the COVID, with the coronavirus, but I thought this was an interesting story, how things can instantly change. There's this gentleman that's running, he's a Muslim American, and he's running for Congress. Someone sent him a nasty Islamophobic email, and instead of responding with antagonism and nastiness, he did a little research on the person that sent him a nasty email and found out that has incredibly high medical bills for a condition that he suffers. So this Muslim American candidate deposited or put money into his FundMe account. And then he told many of his followers to do the same thing. So they collectively paid $1,800 on this guy's FundMe account. And originally it was at a couple hundred, and with all of the contributions, it's over $2,000 now. And this is what the candidate congressman wrote in a tweet. Last week, a conservative constituent sent me deeply hurtful anti-Muslim tweets. I replied by donating to his GoFundMe to help cover crushing medical debt that he has. He wrote me a thoughtful and compassionate apology and asked me to visit him. Today, I met my new friend Oz, and then he shows a picture of him and his new friend. The article continues to talk about the fact that this gentleman Oz never had a anti any bone in his body until 9/11, and then he blamed all of the Muslims. And he was on a mission since 9/11 to insult, to offend, and to verbally, accuse Muslims of every god-awful thing that happened in the world. And then with this act by this gentleman, changed his mind, and they now have a mutual respect for one another. Oz, the guy said, I've been taught a lesson by this wonderful man, but I will be honest, I don't know if I'm going to vote for you. And he said, that's fine. I didn't do it to get a vote. I did it because I want to try to make the world a better place. So that was a lovely human interest story. This last human interest story is from one of my heroes. And if you come to my discussion groups, I always talk about him. His name is Chef Jose Andres, and he is a humanitarian par excellence and a chef who has restaurants all over the world, and sometimes you have to wait months for a reservation. He also has what is called the World Central Kitchen, which is one of his humanitarian organizations. And when the federal government was shut down last year, he let all government officials, government employees rather, who were not working, eat in any of his restaurants for free. And what he did now is he announced that he was closing all of the restaurants all over the, in parts of the country, but in particular in DC. And he is bringing in his World Kitchen Foundation, and they will be cooking food for people who are no longer employed. And there is no limit to the number of meals that these people can have. He said this is not going to be elegant dining, but is going to be continuous opportunity for people to eat meals as long as their hours are reduced and as long as they are unemployed. He said this is what people have to do now. It's not just about you, it's not just about me. He said this is about the world. This is a man who went and flew his personal jet to Puerto Rico and brought a bunch of workers with him and set up food stations all over the island, and they still have people there. This is a man who goes to the border on Thanksgiving and serves Thanksgiving meals to all the people at the border who are in cages and who are the humanitarian workers there. This is a man who goes to California during the fires and sets up food stations all over the areas where people are hit the worst. This is a man who sees food as not only a livelihood, but as a moral obligation. And I hope someday that I can meet this guy. I hope someday I can afford eating at one of his restaurants, but I hope someday I can meet him. He is really a spectacular human being. So those are the lovely little human interest stories. And I will tell you that I came across some ideas of things that can keep us busy while we're all, at home. So these are some ideas. I'm sure that many of you already know them, but I'll share them with you. One is try doing something creative at home that you've never done before. Whether it's to start sewing, to start knitting, to cook something that you've been always afraid to cook, to make something, to draw, to create something that you never wanted to. Now you have the time, now you have the impetus, and if you're lucky enough to be able to be technical enough to go online, you can use videos and YouTubes and have all that stuff able to help you and learn something new. Stream guided breathing exercises and meditations. When we feel like we've had enough and the walls are caving in, there are opportunities out there on the internet that can help us calm down and focus and get back to where we want to be. Schedule lots of phone or video chats with your friends on a regular basis and turn that into a daily activity. This number 5, take a break from the news whenever you can, because it can be very overwhelming. Number 6, journal your feelings. I actually started doing that yesterday and it was kind of fun. Check out online resources for therapy, for medical advice, for financial advice, and see, and if you are affiliated with a synagogue or a religious organization, stay connected with them online during these very trying times. The other thing, just dropped something, sorry. The other thing that I want to tell you is that I'm going to give you my email address, which is Gert, G-E-R-T, at infosheet, infosheet.com, like information sheet. I'm going to read you some quotes that I found extraordinarily comforting, and if any of you would like them, just feel free to contact me and I will email them to you. One of them, this is the first one. I think they're just beautiful. Every hand that we don't shake must become a phone call that we place. Every hand that we don't shake must become a phone call that we place. Second, every embrace that we avoid must become a verbal expression of warmth and concern. Pardon me, I'm sneezing, I'm in the privacy of my own home. Nobody's going to catch that. Don't worry, I just sneezed. See, this is how paranoia sets in. I'll repeat that second one. Every embrace that we avoid must become a verbal expression of warmth and concern. Every inch and every foot that we physically place between ourselves and another must become a thought as to how we might be of help to that other should the need arise. Every inch and every foot that we physically place between ourselves and another must become a thought as to how we might help to that other should the need arise. So I hope that you like those. And I also have a couple of cute little funnies. Max was suffering from a bad case of the flu. How timely. So he called his doctor to get an appointment. When he was told the scheduled date of the appointment, he became outraged and bellowed, 2 weeks? The doctor can't see me for 2 weeks? I could well be dead by then. Calmly, the receptionist replied, if so, would you have your wife call to cancel the appointment? A man walks into a bar and goes up to the bartender and says, I'll have a Corona, please. Hold the virus. I sneezed in the bank today. It was the most attention I have received from the staff in the last 10 years. 2 antennas, looking for love in all the right places, met on a rooftop. They fell in love, had a whirlwind romance, and got married. The ceremony wasn't much, but the reception was excellent. Cheesy, but I hope you got a little smile. And the last thing is, I'm going to share the beginning of the journal that I'm starting. Whenever the mood strikes, I'm going to put an entry in. Who knows what will happen, but I'm going to share the first part of the journal with you. School must be out because as I was walking through the neighborhood, all of a sudden there were bikes and scooters carrying happy kids into the outdoors. Amidst the giggles and shouts to one another, I saw one young boy biking and looking intently at his phone at the same time. Lucky for him, there were hardly any cars on the road. As I took my second walk of this new norm, I noticed fathers strolling their babies and walking with their toddlers. I assumed their wives or partners were at home being teacher, parent, and principal, a trifecta they did not choose. Another new norm. It was a lovely day as I walked around my hood and listened to music that I normally don't listen to. My husband introduced me to Spotify, a music streaming service that now replaces my deceased iPod. I have yet to fully master the icons in various musical and podcast selections, so opted for the first one I saw, new single releases. I heard such pretty music from wonderful artists I normally don't listen to. I even found myself bopping my head from side to side to keep in tune with the more upbeat melodies. When not walking or outside, I make videos to be posted for the adult community I work with at the JCC. Then I call my students who I tutor for their bar and bat mitzvah and work with them remotely. I then send them recordings of the material they have to work on at home. I make phone calls and text a lot to keep in touch, but this is all very challenging for me. I am a people person, through and through. I am an educator, a facilitator, and a humorist. Everything I do with people by my side. I love being alone from time to time, and I love my downtime. But doing my job from home saddens me only because I miss being with people. As I adjust to our new friend, norm, I will adapt to what it is I have to do to stay safe and healthy. My millennial daughter has been emphasizing the importance of, quote, not being part of the problem, end quote. At 61, I am in that category, but thankfully I am fairly healthy and in good shape and plan to make the best of my new friend Norm at every turn. Till tomorrow, be safe everybody, wash your hands, call people and stay in touch that way. It was very nice chatting with you. Have a good week.